Hi, everyone. Just waiting a couple or maybe just one more minute to make sure everyone's able to get in to see the start of this, our Master of Teaching Information evening, and then we will kick off. So it won't be a second. Alrighty, guys, we might kick off. So, first off, a big thank you to everyone for coming to our Master of Teaching Information evening. It's great to see so many interested parties looking to progress their studies in this direction. So, without further ado, let's kick off. So first off, I would like to begin by saying I would like to acknowledge the Bedegal people who are the traditional custodians on the land of which UNSW Kensington stands. I would also like to pay my respect to the elders, both past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who may be joining us today. So, before we dive into the Master of Teaching programs itself, I would like to give you an insight into what UNSW has to offer. So UNSW is ranked among the top 20 global universities, and we have held this ranking for 3 years in a row. This reflects our exceptional teaching, outstanding research, and social impact. We also have over 300 degrees to choose from, which enables students to explore their passions and interests while on the path to finding their dream career. We also are very proud to have Australia's most employable students, according to the Australian Financial Review, and this is due to our commitment to foster job-ready graduates through our fantastic employability programs and initiatives. So, just a few things that may interest you when thinking about UNSW as a prospective institution for your learning. We are ranked first in Australia for international research and in arts and humanities. We have 12 subjects ranked in the top 5 in Australia. Within architecture and built environment and social sciences and management, we are top 25 in the world. We're first in Australia and in the top 30 globally for graduate employability and employment outcomes, which is always a big one that students and or prospective students wanting to come and study with us are looking out for. Further to this, we have state-of-the-art facilities in which students get to study. So not just the theoretical side, but the hands-on side, we have that all covered. Alrighty, so just to give you an idea of what we're going to be running through today, I'll give you an overview of the agenda. So first up, we're going to look into the entry requirements and the application process for our Master of Teaching programs before we dive into each one separately. So we'll have the Master of Teaching Secondary, followed by the Master of Teaching Primary, and then a very special treat, we have a Master of Teaching alumni and a current student Q&A. And we'll finish up with a panelist Q&A. So I would encourage you that if you do have any burning questions that you want answered, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we will try and get to them and have them answered at that Q&A section, if not before, through the presentation itself. Alrighty, so to run us through the application process and entry requirements, I would like to pass over to our fantastic advisor and program support lead, Natalia. Natalia, over to you.
Hey, thank you, Cameron. Hi, everyone. Wow, it was so exciting to see the amount of registrations that we've had for this session, and I hope that we can provide you with as much information to assist you with a future career in teaching. I'll just let you know a little bit about myself and how I'm involved. So I'm the program support lead and advisor for UNSW's teacher education degrees and have been with the school for around 12 years. So I've seen a wonderfully diverse range of students coming into our MTeach degrees, from mid-career changes to recent graduates. There is support for everyone and we care deeply about all of our students. Now on to entry requirements. So I'll briefly talk through minimum entry requirements in the application process. Secondary seems to be one that has much more in-depth requirements And that is because you will need a recognised undergraduate degree that meets the subject content knowledge requirements for 2 single teaching areas or 1 double teaching area. And that is the requirements for first and double are the same. So you will need a major, which equates to 6 individual semester long units with no more than 2 at first year and at least 2 at third year. For an additional or second single teaching area, you will need a minor. A minor equates to 4 individual semester long units with no more than 2 at first year and at least 2 at third year. There is also a minimum 60 WAM cutoff requirement. So you will need to make sure that you have maintained a 60 WAM. So that's a weighted average mark. Now, if for some reason you do not meet that requirement, you can complete additional study, for example, a graduate certificate to increase your WAM for potential future entry. An additional entry requirement that we have for our initial teacher education degrees is related to non-academic capabilities. So you will need to complete and provide a 100 to 150 word personal statement that includes your reasons for wanting to be a secondary teacher and why you're well suited to that role. Thank you. Next slide. So the Master of Teaching Primary, it's important to note just before I get stuck into it, is that as a teacher education student, you will be learning and teaching across all key learning areas. You will need a recognised undergraduate degree consisting of at least 8 individual semester length units across 1 or more key learning areas, with no more than 2 at first year and at least 2 at third year. And again, we have the same minimum 60 WAM requirement. If you don't meet that requirement, you can complete additional study to increase your WAM. An additional entry requirement that we have for the Master of Teaching Primary is all students must meet a minimum mathematics knowledge requirement, which is equivalent to a HSC Band 4 70 plus in a 2-unit HSC mathematics course. Only results from 2001 and later can count. Applicants can still be given an offer to the Master of Teaching Primary with a condition, if they do not meet this requirement, with a condition that states you will need to complete a UNSW approved bridging course. UNSW has developed a bridging course for this purpose with TAFE New South Wales. So we do have that option available, and we also work very closely with the TAFE team to ensure that we are providing the best support we can, and also with flexibility depending on where you are based in Australia, New South Wales. Additionally, there's also the non-academic capabilities requirement of completing the 100 to 150 word personal statement, including your reasons for wanting to be a primary school teacher specifically and why you're well suited to that role. Another thing I was just going to say, with the personal statement, it's also good to add some sort of experience that you might have in education, any sort of leadership responsibilities that you've had previously that may have influenced your decision to change to move into a teaching career, and that would make you well suited. On to applications. So for both Master of Teaching Secondary and Master of Teaching Primary, our domestic applicants will apply directly through UAC. The applications opened on the 3rd of September, and we have recently received our very first lot of applications. So until the 18th of January 2026, you will be able to apply through UAC. Each week we will have an offer round, or UAC. There is a UAC offer round weekly, so we will be issuing offers as soon as possible. It can sometimes take between 2 and 4 weeks to receive an outcome. And that depends on whether your application is complete. If your application is incomplete, you will be contacted by UAC asking for additional documentation if needed. It's also important to note that there is a non-refundable application fee of $85, which is just a flat fee. So between the 3rd of September and the 18th of January, there is a flat fee for all applications. Okay, it's really important to submit your application as early as possible. That way, if you do receive an outcome that's disappointing, we may be able to provide additional advice and make sure that in your offer letter there is detailed information about what you might be missing and how you could be eligible in future. For our international applicants, you will be applying directly through UNSW Apply Online. The application deadline is the 11th of January. So you can apply now up until the 11th of January, and this will go through our UNSW admissions team and then come through to an assessor in the School of Education. It's also important to submit your application early so that we can work together, and if you have any questions about your outcome, then we can have a look at that as well. Also, again, it can take between 2 and 4 weeks to receive an outcome, and just noting that sometimes there are quite busy periods, but we do try to respond to your applications very quickly.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Natalia. That was very comprehensive. What we'll do now is we'll move on to a bit more in-depth look at the programs themselves. So for the Master of Teaching Secondary, I would like to welcome Dr. Geraldine Townend. Geraldine, over to you.
Thank you very much and welcome everybody. I can't tell you how special it is to talk about a profession that it really does shape lives and shape futures every day. As a teacher, you have the opportunity to inspire curiosity, nurture potential, and make real tangible differences, not only to our youth, but also to the future of our society. So congratulations on getting this far and considering it as a profession. So I'd like to talk to you about the Master of Teaching Secondary. It starts in term 1, so that'll be next year, and it is a very special course we have here because the duration is 1.3 years. It's a 2-year course that's been accelerated and condensed into 1.3 years. That has a real bonus on getting out into schools earlier, getting by pretty much the 3rd term, during the 3rd term of your first year, you can be working in schools, and then by the following end of term 1 for the university the following year, you are qualified and ready to go. So it's very highly regarded. It's accredited by NESA, and you have hands-on experience in schools. We have wonderful arrangements with schools in several areas, and it really helps to build your confidence to make a real cracking start to your career in this profession. So I'm just going to look at just those things I was talking about, the 2-year equivalent, and it's really nice to be able to, during the 3rd term of your first year, to be able to actually be in schools employed and teaching. This program is recognised interstate and internationally, as well as obviously accredited within New South Wales. It is very highly regarded across Australia and internationally. So why study here? We have thought leaders and practice leaders in the academic field and including practicing teachers who you will be working with. And this, the fact that this is an accelerated degree, which is unique, gives you the opportunity to really get out there and be teaching in the profession very quickly. So really towards the end, during term 3 of your time here, like I said before, you can be in schools and teaching and earning, which is great whilst you finish off your Master of Teaching program. These are the teaching areas that we cover in the secondary, and you'll be having methods teachers who are highly qualified practicing teachers in schools in Australia who come in and actually help you learn how to the pedagogy and the methods around your particular subject or subjects. Highlighted here are 3 new subjects in TAS that are being offered from beginning of next year: computing technology, design and technology, and textiles and design. A wonderful opportunity, as Australia is very much needing TAS teachers as well as educators across the board. So this is an opportunity. And just to reiterate that, in addition to our full suite of methods options, so your teaching area options, we have TAS, Technology and Applied Studies, in these 3 areas. There is a very high shortage of teachers in those areas. We're having the best method teachers coming on board and academics to help support you in training to be a teacher in this area, as well as all the other areas, and that's added to our extensive suite for next year. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Geraldine. It's great to see that we have so many study areas there that students can choose from. Now to jump into the Master of Teaching Primary. So, and I hope I get this the last name right. I have tried to be coached in it. Dr. Laura Tuohilampi. How did I do?
Thank you, Cameron. That was 100% perfect Finnish. So that also gives away my home country. I'm from Finland. My name is Laura Tuohilampi, as just said, and I'm the program leader for the Master of Teaching Primary. It's lovely to meet all of you who are interested in pursuing a master's degree and potentially want to become a primary teacher. So congratulations on considering this career path. To me personally, like Geraldine emphasized, teaching has been the most meaningful profession. As a primary teacher, we're definitely not just teaching, disciplines such as maths or literacy or science, but we're really shaping children and the future beyond classrooms and far into the future. My own personal subject is mathematics, so that's something that many students might be a little bit apprehensive of. So I can guarantee personally that in this program, maths, along with all the other disciplines, are taught with so much passion and inspiration and by highly qualified experts. You have already heard about the structure of this program, just wanted to highlight the accelerated nature of it. So from very early on, you'll be in school, so it's very hands-on, practical, working directly with children, combining your academic and theoretical learning with what actually happens in classrooms. And said by Geraldine, by the end of first year, you'll already be eligible to teach. So maybe considering how do I actually balance between multiple commitments and so on. So I understand that it is a big decision to step into getting a new degree. Many of you might have children or, caring loved ones or have multiple other commitments, jobs and all that. I'm with you. I also, when I was still studying, I had my kids and established my family. I renovated a house. It was challenging, but it is possible to do these things while you're working on other areas of your life as well. You will still need to make time and space for your studies. And I like to think it as really giving a gift for yourself, allowing yourself to really focus on your new career. I can reassure that you are well supported throughout your studies. So we really have made lots of efforts in balancing carefully between academic learning with classroom experience. And also we support you long term so that you don't only get theoretical knowledge that you can go enter the classrooms with, but really strategies that can ensure that you can dynamically grow and evolve as a teacher, as a teaching professional throughout your career. So the intensity, the accelerated nature of the program also allows it to be collaborative. So you won't be studying in isolation, or you're not just kind of like receiving information. We work together to kind of like ensure that everybody gets individual feedback and support. Many of the former students build strong professional networks and even friendships, and kind of like really build a community that can support you during your studies and also continue to support you in your teaching career. Geraldine also mentioned that this is like you can be a teacher in UNSW and like in all Australia, but also internationally. And for example, one of my former students is currently teaching in Finland, so you have many options after this degree. So I warmly encourage you to apply and look forward to continue to support you in your studies. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Laura. So now we have one student and one alumni of these programs here with us that I'd like to introduce. So Nathan, who is currently studying our Master of Teaching Primary, and Megan, who is an alumni of the Master of Teaching Secondary. So just to kickstart things, would it be okay if you both introduce yourselves and tell us what you did for study and why you decided to study in the Master of Teaching programs?
Yeah, I'm happy to start us off. So my name is Megan, Megan Thamba, and I did a Master of Secondary Teaching, focusing on biology and chemistry. So I actually went straight from my undergraduate degree into the Masters. My undergraduate degree was a Bachelor of Advanced Science, and I was focusing on physiology and pathology. And the last year of that was an honours year of research. And I loved the degree, and it definitely solidified my passion for science and research. But I think across those 4 years of my undergraduate, it just became more clear to me that teaching others about what I was learning was actually the more energizing and fulfilling thing for me. And so pretty much as soon as I started my undergraduate, I did think I would go into teaching. But I knew that the master's was there and it was a great option to do afterward. So yeah, I got to the end of my honours and I was more sure than ever that I wanted to go into teaching, and that's what I did.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Megan. Nathan, over to you.
Yeah, nice to meet everyone here. So yeah, a little bit about me. I did a Bachelor of Commerce actually at UTS, following which I spent 3 years in the corporate world in a boutique recruitment firm. Really, the switch to me to do a master's, and particularly primary, was I had a wealth of experience working with children, sort of primary school age, through my time doing my undergraduate, so after school care and coaching children's soccer, and I sort of was lacking a sense of passion for what I was doing in recruitment, and really wanted to find something that had more purpose and was more fulfilling. I feel I've definitely found that in teaching and through this degree, and the experiences that come with it. For example, I recently completed my first prac, and that was hands down the best professional experience I've had in my career so far. So yeah, I encourage anyone who's thinking about making a switch, be it a sort of master's degree in teaching, whether it be primary or secondary. It's incredible and really fulfilling.
Yeah, fantastic. I might actually stick with you, Nathan, for this next question I have. Because you are currently studying at the moment.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of an idea about the class schedules and the learning modes?
Yeah, so the class schedules and the learning modes are really flexible, and you can, in a sense, tailor it to suit your needs. And for example, I have a daughter who's just started school, so I found it really easy to schedule my classes in evenings mostly. But I know that There are opportunities to take classes during the daytime as well. And in terms of the form and the learning modes, there's lots of different subjects that have face-to-face, whether it be at UNSW Kensington on campus, but then also online formats as well. So yeah, overall, it's a hybrid model, and it's really flexible that a lot of people can utilize to suit their needs and their schedules.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Megan, I'll go to you for this one. So, as we heard from both Geraldine and Laura, work-in-place learning is a big part of the program. So, is it mandatory within the degree? How does it work? Do you have to reach out to the schools yourself, or do you get help with that? And if so, are you able to sort of choose where you go?
Yeah, great. So I'll start with the first one. Yes, it is mandatory for a good reason. It's the best way to learn what it is to be a teacher and get experience on the job. The way it works is there's 3 components, and each one kind of increases in autonomy and your involvement. So the first one is purely just observing. So that happens as early as the first term. So you will be assigned a school, and you spend 1 day a week for 5 weeks in the Master of Teaching, observing a range of teachers. And I also observed a range of subjects as well, which is great. So all up, that was 5 full days of just observing, taking it in, asking teachers questions, that kind of thing. The second component is your first, I guess, prac experience. So that's 4 weeks or 20 school days. And essentially you're doing about a 30% full-time load. So there is a lot of support. You have a supervising teacher. The first few days, you just get a feel for the school and the culture and you observe. And then when your supervising teacher feels you're ready, you start to take on a few of their classes with their support. The last component is a 9-week prac and internship experience, or 45 days, and that's the last component of the Masters. And so this one is, again, there's still support. You have a supervising teacher, but about halfway through, you will get the green light to then take on the classes without a supervising teacher. And that is such a great way to, you're essentially doing the full load there and experiencing what it's like to be a teacher without that supervising support. And so that second half of that 9-week prac is called the internship phase. UNSW has a team called the Work Integrated Learning Team, and they have lots of connections with a wide range of schools. And so essentially the default is that they will allocate you to a school. They do get you to fill out your preferences, and they try to meet your preferences, and they will try to find your school that's within a reasonable distance from your home. But that's the default, and your 4-week prac and your 9-week prac are at different schools. However, if you do have pre-existing like network connections with a school, you can request to be allocated to this school. And if that's the case, then the Work Integrated Learning Team and the school and you will work together to fill out the documentation. So there is flexibility there as well. And that's what I did for one of my prac experiences.
Fantastic. Thanks, Megan. That was a really in-depth look through the practicals that you do. That was fantastic. Nathan, you mentioned a bit about previously taking into account family commitments and things like that for this program. So how do you think you're balancing that at the moment?
I think personally, I think what's definitely helped is that for the most part, and I'd probably assume every subject as well that I've taken in my Masters of Primary Teaching, is that all the lectures are pre-recorded. So, or either pre-recorded or they're recorded live for people to watch later on. So I guess it gives that extra a layer of flexibility that you can watch it when it suits you. And then with tutorials as well, yeah, as I mentioned, I've found it a lot easier to take my tutorials in the evening and mostly online as well. Just that's just due to personal needs and timeframes and the like. Yeah, overall, the flexibility of the program has really helped me be able to balance my commitments, be it, other work on the go as well as family needs.
Fantastic. Great to hear. Megan, studying isn't just about the academic side of things here at UNSW. So do you have anything outside of the academic sort of life that you did at UNSW alongside your academic work?
Yeah, so for me, music has always been a big part of my life, and I play the violin. And so I was part of the UNSW Orchestra, which is a society, and we rehearse every week, or we did rehearse when I was part of it, every week for a few hours, and there would be concerts every term, and yeah, that was a great way to connect with people outside of my degree, different ages, and just continue my passion for music. Um, the other thing I would say is I found it quite surprising how close the Masters of Teaching cohort is, particularly because you tend to do all the same subjects or very similar subjects throughout, whereas I was used to an undergraduate science degree where, a lecture hall might have hundreds of people and you have very different subjects. And so I just found it really easy to grab coffee with, peers or even just go to the library and chip away at assignments in the presence of one another. I found that quite easy. And even though that's still academic, it was a nice way to socialize amidst the pretty heavy load.
Yeah, fantastic. Great to see that you were involved in so many things while you were here with us. Nathan, what support is available to students studying the Master of Teaching? Have you used any or are aware of any?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole range of different supports that I've used or at least been exposed to as well. So I mentioned obviously the how flexible the programming is with lectures and tutorials, but then that also applies to assessments as well. So UNSW, particularly in my degree, so the Masters of Primary Teaching. So for every assessment, there's an automatic 3-day extension provided without the need for any paperwork or forms. And I've seen that with every subject that I've done so far. There's also a really good emphasis on lecturers and tutors to run through what is required in assessments. So whether it be sort of briefing videos, breaking down the different parts and how to complete it properly, or in tutorials themselves, going through it step by step. But then there's also discussion forums as well on the UNSW site or class site for everyone to ask questions, and tutors respond there, but then also happy to be emailed directly. And then again with the flexibility, tutors I've found have been really understanding of when students need to just sort of notify them that they either can't make a tutorial at a certain time for whatever reason, and there's lots of opportunities to actually swap, which I've done a couple of times, just for competing reasons and time conflicts to do my tutorial at another time that week. So yeah, there's a wide range of supports available.
Fantastic. Great to hear. Thanks so much, Nathan. And the final question for Megan, being an alumni of UNSW, how did you find the work that you are currently in now?
So I was in a very fortunate position where the school I did my 9-week practicum at offered me a full-time permanent position, which was so good because you form a lot of relationships with students and with teachers in that 9-week prac, and to be able to continue those on full-time is such a pleasure. So that's kind of how I secured it. I actually went into that school originally for a casual teaching interview. And this was before my 9-week prac, and they got back to me saying, would you actually consider doing your prac with us and then continuing on as an employee? So very fortunate, but I know of many, many teachers who their work was secured through their last placement. Yeah.
Fantastic. Great to hear. Alrighty, so that concludes the current student alumni panel section. So what we'll do now is we'll jump into the general Q&A session for everyone. So if you have any questions that you would like answered, please put them into the chat and we'll try and get to them as we have our fantastic UNSW staff, alumni, current students here to answer. I can see there's already a few in the chat. So one I might start with is one that I think I can probably answer myself, and that is, I'm working a full-time job. Do you think I would be able to balance that work with full-time study of the Master of Teaching Secondary? So this is a very interesting question. Obviously, we don't want to say that it's impossible to work full-time while studying. However, as Geraldine and Laura both pointed out, this is an accelerated program, or they're both accelerated programs that you're doing. So the teaching times have been condensed, but you are still doing the same amount of work so that you are able to move into your career as a teacher within the shortest possible time. So we would never recommend for students to be doing full-time study alongside full-time work, as that would be a very, very heavy workload. And we obviously don't want to set our students up for failure. So one of the really good things you can sort of look at with this is that if you were to go into studying this program full-time, you can, within the first 3 terms or in that 3rd term, you can actually start working and being paid for your work while completing your studies. So that is something we would encourage students to look at, not so much continuing full-time work while doing it. But obviously there are always exceptions to the rule, something to keep in mind. And obviously we have those support networks here at UNSW available for people to use if that is something that you wanted to consider. Alrighty, I saw a very interesting question here. So Nathan, this was based around you having changed from a corporate world and coming back to do a Master of Teaching to change into this sort of career path. Are you aware of anyone else of your colleagues who might be doing this as well? Geraldine, if you wanted to jump in as well, if you had any idea of students that you would teach that have come through that pathway as well. But Nathan, yep.
Yeah, there's absolutely there are. I think across the Masters of Primary Teaching cohort that there'd be I don't know the specific numbers, but I would say a good chunk of people who had prior experience in the corporate world, who have for whatever reason have made the switch, and a lot of them are really good people and progressing well with their degree, as am I. So it is quite common, I would say.
Thanks, Cameron. We just phrase which exact pathway?
So I don't think they've put an exact pathway. It just says, interesting to hear Nathan speak about reasons for moving into teaching. Thinking of doing this after 20 years in corporate, how common is this? So is this something you're aware of in the secondary teaching scope?
Certainly, we have people who have been 20, 30 years or more in corporate or in other professions that move into the Master of Teaching Secondary. And it's a significant number on the course. So there are a lot of more mature students that have got that background, and this is really valid background. We really support those applications also, because all of that wealth of experience and knowledge of other professions that teachers can take into schools and support their students going forward. So it is very much valued and appreciated, and a significant number.
I might also add, definitely agree with Geraldine and also Nathan, there is a good chunk of those career changes. And in my experience, the most common reason is to find something more meaningful, the same way as Nathan has.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Something that maybe Megan and Nathan, you guys might be across, a question here from a student. Am I able to start study full time and then move into part-time study later on in the degree?
Yeah, I can start. Yes, you definitely can. I know personally quite a few of my friends in my cohort started full-time and they also had part-time work, not full-time work. And I think they just found after the first term that it wasn't sustainable for them. And so they decided to drop back to part-time. And I don't think they regretted that at all, but I think they were happy that they first tried full-time and just kind of tested out the waters. So yeah, you can definitely go to part-time.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. It looks like another question regarding the land type. So do I have to complete land type before I submit an application to the Masters? So please correct me if I'm wrong here, Geraldine and Laura, but I believe the land type can actually be completed or needs to be completed before the final practical takes place.
Correct.
Yeah, which is usually, I think, around that
It's
term
in,
3.
yeah,
Yep.
it's term 3. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
and that's when you can actually start working in schools as well. But yes, the land type must be completed before you can go on that final practicum.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it's not a necessity to submit an application for the Masters via UAC. So it's something you can do, of course, before submitting, but it's not a necessity. Alrighty. So this one is sort of about the school placement. So Geraldine and Laura, this might again be for you guys. If a student is already working at a school, would they be able to complete their placements through that school?
We have our team here that actually place people into schools. There is a possibility it could happen for one of your practicums, but we do try and encourage people to have experience of different environments, different schools where they can, and it could be in the different sectors, the Catholic education, the departmental sector, private independent school sector. And so, and that's part of the richness of this degree, is to have that variety of experience. But we're open to a discussion, but you certainly will not have all of your practicums in the same school. They'll all be in different schools.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. So I can just see a question here regarding enrolling part-time from the beginning and if it is possible. It certainly is, but as one of our fantastic staff has indicated, if you do start the Master of Teaching Primary or Secondary part-time, you do have to continue as a part-time student. You are unable to go into full-time simply because the way the programs are structured, it makes it very difficult to do that because it is an accelerated program. And starting part-time just means you have to continue in that way. And one further question I have here, this is open to everyone, teachers and current student and alumni, because you'll have lived this. How much of the program can be completed online as opposed to face-to-face?
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, so most of the courses are fully online. So you have lectures, like Nathan said, pre-recorded or live recorded, and then you can watch them afterwards. The tutorials also online most of the time. You still need to be and participate, like engage in those online sessions. And then the practicums are, you have to be there. So basically that's about it.
I would also add that there are a few subjects you do that are method subjects. So that's where teachers will come in, and it's in the evening because they are doing it after a day of school. And so they're tutorials and they are in person, and they're really worthwhile because, yeah, you're learning from teachers who are current, like they've just had a day at school. So there's a lot of practical experience from that. So yeah, those tutorials from my memory are in person. Yeah.
Awesome. It is 6:45, so it looks like, unfortunately, we have run out of time. There is just one further question I wanted to address that we've got a couple of in the chat at the moment, and that is regarding how to apply for the Commonwealth supported places. So obviously that can be done for domestic students through the UAC portal. You should see within the UAC portal, there will be a specific code that you enter for a CSP place to be considered for that. And you will be assessed once that comes through. So it's all within the UAC portal. You just have to apply through there, and the CSP place will be something that you can ask to be considered for. All right, so I would like to say thank you to everyone who came tonight. It's fantastic to see that you are interested in studying our Master of Teaching programs with us. I would also like to say thank you to our fantastic staff, so Natalia earlier, Laura and Geraldine, and to our alumni, Megan, and our current student, Nathan. If you have any further questions that we weren't able to get to tonight, just on the screen now, I've put up some of our contact details. You are more than welcome to phone in between, I think it's 10 a.m. till 4 a.m., 10 a.m. till 4 p.m., Monday to Friday, or you can always send us through an email and we'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Bye for now.